the question of Bitcoin's cybersecurity, specifically the solution, the complex problem of the discrete logarithm on elliptic curves, crooked using BTCDetect software if available. Various leaks through external channels in the FolBit blockchain. Data leaks. Research tools for cybersecurity are considered as an algorithm when solving discrete, the logarithm that reveals complete information about the closed one, a BTC key with a positive balance for payments. Means, to start, we will look at a little theory, part for complete understanding, then we'll gradually move on to the practical part, where we will clearly show how exactly closed keys for BTC wallets are being exposed through third parties. Data leaks in the FolBit blockchain channels. Blockchain uses elliptic curve cryptography, where the private key is a scalar like an integer in a range, a 256-bit number. So in the software, BTCDetect has features of a binary matrix cell, where even and odd numbers are filled in, that is, 0 and 1. This function in table form is briefly called bit matrix. Initially, the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, made the blockchain is public and open for access to anyone interested. In terms of cybersecurity, this is indeed a major fundamental issue. A bug and a critical vulnerability that exposes a specific, the public key of the holder of payment means in cryptocurrency. Actually, the public key is calculated as a generator. Points of the elliptic curve, where the private key is a scalar, multiplication of a point. So knowing the point, you can recover the scalar and the subsequent one. Bit of 0 and 1. In our case, the BTCDetect software is used. How to use scalar multiplication as a key reduction tool on an elliptic curve using the Euclidean algorithm. Doubling and adding. Each bit of the scalar in the bit matrix table is applied sequentially. Scalar calculation. This means that the structure of the Bitcoin private key, the wallet in the bit space, directly manages the trajectory. Operations on points of an elliptic curve. So in the case of a leak, the attacker knows individual bits of the secret. The key and the BTCDetect software reveals the information about whether the subsequent bit is a 0 or a 1. This way, he can narrow down the search area. So when filling in the bit matrix table, the program's algorithm, it records a bit in the position of each cell sequentially. If our private key is odd, then we make it, subtracting 1 from an even number using Euclid's algorithm for scalars. And if our key is even, then division is performed by 2. We repeat the procedure, and each step reveals the next one. Bit. In short, we get the key bit by bit. Thus, 256 consecutive count leaks are completely. It recovers all 256 bits of the key one by one. After filling in all 256 cells, we get a private key in binary format. Next, the BTCDetect software performs the conversion. When pressing bin, hex, and when launching certain conversion functions. Key. Let's take a detailed look at how it works in practice. How to get the BTCDetect software into the blockchain. FolBit leak, and how to apply the subsequent 0 bits and DIT units. And later I use the Euclidean algorithm for scalars. Let's recover the private key for Bitcoin. So let's move on to the practice of happiness on the main page. We see the menu for activation and for working with the software. We need to decide on the plan. Right now, the lowest rate is the basic one, where you make just one process. But for us, I opened my cold wallet in advance, and I currently have 11 Bitcoins set up here. Addresses all with a zero balance. If we take a look at the very first balance, the zero balance, I bought the advanced plan in advance for a certain amount. The amount. We choose the plan by pressing the button, and we can see the amount. Copy the address or top up using the QR code, specify it. In the TXT field, enter the payment ID and your email address. I also indicate this in the field. Next, press the button and make sure to provide your information. Email, because to the email, the activation and login to the personal account comes. That is, the personal account looks exactly like this. This is my account, personal account, where there is an updated version on this matter. The button and the activation key. Every person, every user will have their own. A unique activation key, your activation key. Next, we can download the software. From my office, my account, from my account, or from the main page, so it doesn't make a difference. So we go to the very end and click the download button. Let's go ahead, click on save, and download it to your personal device. So let's see, everything downloaded perfectly. Next, you'll need to unzip the software. All of this happens instantly. You can check it too. This zip file in VirusTotal, the software should work. And you can check all of this yourself. So we open the zip file folder and we see the first one. The folder is the blockchain where our FolBit is stored, and that's the main thing. The software is BTCDetect, that's everything I want. I want to upload it to GitHub later, and for that I want to create a repository, and then we just copy the name. I'm creating a new repository for the software. I'll call the repository detect without any dashes. You can specify the full name like this, then I click Next. Create, before creating the commands to add the repository. Let's activate our program. For that, we'll go to our personal account. We will need an activation key. Let's get started. Now we need to specify the activation code for the program. The key, the activation key, is specified in this field. We copy the activation key, then we click Paste. And we press the activation button. And this way we are provided with advanced plan, 11 processes, and then we move to the folder. By pressing the blockchain button, we start FolBit and the launch is happening. Exactly the same as BTCDetect Software. So now to get a leak through external channels via the FolBit blockchain. We just press the button to find the Bitcoin address. It's all simple from there. The software connects to the blockchain, scanning is in progress, and here we are. We get a specific Bitcoin address, save it, and copy this Bitcoin address. So we saved the Bitcoin address, and now we're looking at this Bitcoin address in the console. Here it is saved, and there's also a link to go to, so we can just click on it. There is a certain amount in this leak through external channels. There are transactions, and then we proceed. What we received, we need to save it on the blockchain, just as we agreed. Earlier, we need to save everything in our repository, so we just upload it. So we got a folder with the Bitcoin address where I saved the Bitcoin address, that is. This Bitcoin address is a leak through external channels. So the FolBit blockchain data leak. Now let's use the BTC software. We enter the Bitcoin address in the field, which is really simple. We just copied it. The Bitcoin address, and then we need to click the extract button, and then in the console we see how do we get the public key? As we mentioned earlier, it's the coordinate of the elliptic curve, where gx is the coordinate and gy is the coordinate. Then we need to fill in the binary. The matrix is a table of bits. We run our software BTCDetect next. We see how the cells are filled with a bit field, meaning they are filled with even and odd bits, 0. This is an even bit, and 1 is odd, meaning when our private key is odd. So scalar multiplication on these values results in adding 1. We start with an odd number, and then we get an even number, and this even number is divisible by 2. Then the following cells are being filled in, and the data is almost reaching the very end. The 256-bit cell is the filling of the private key, and the scalar multiplication is complete. Next, the console says that we need to press the bin hex button, which is for converting from binary value to get the hex format, that is the private key in hex format. Then we click on press the hex button, and we get the private key in the format we're used to. Then we need to save it. Our process saves to the same folder where the BTCDetect software is located. When we open this software, we see the console folder, and as we can see from the console, the entire process that took place in the console has been saved, all 256 scalar multiplications, meaning we received the private key in hex format. So let's copy our regular private key. that we are used to, and we specifically switched to. The payment was created specifically by the site. It was copied from the Coinbin repository and redesigned. And now we can sign the transaction, meaning we put in the private key to receive it. To create a transaction, we enter the private key and then click to proceed. We wait for a while, and here we have the amount, which, as we saw, is this sum. It showed up in our wallet. Then we need to update our cold wallet so we can stake here. So let's update. Let's open our address and copy the address. Paste the copied address here, then specify the value of Bitcoin, and after that, indicate the fee. Let the commission be 915. Then we press the button. Then we check the verification. Everything is correct, and the amount specified is the same. Then from this value, we create Routex. That is, Routex will also check the verification in the same way. That's right. Verification is correct. Then we need to send it to the blockchain. Routex happens through a broadcast transaction, and that's how all payments are created. So we can see the payment has been created. Now we just need the transaction confirmation from the miners. As we can see, we have two confirmations, and now we can verify. Our cold wallet, that is, we will update it. This is how the cold wallet update happens. We need to make sure that the payment has been received, and as we can see, the amount. The one we sent has arrived in our wallet, and we can see the transaction. So since the status is active, we're closing it, but it turns out that the amount is already here. So let's go to the repository and save our result. We can now delete the result because we've already saved it and we're going back. Now we are going back to the blockchain. In the console, we can leave this document. We can delete it, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and delete it since we've already saved it. The result is that we have already launched the FolBit blockchain software to find something new. Let's clear the console by clicking the Clear button, and then we click on Find Bitcoin Address, that is. The software is looking for a new Bitcoin address for us, and that's how we see that there is a Bitcoin address. We save the result for 7771 Bitcoin, copy the address, check it in the console, so we deleted it. It's being removed, so let's close this and open the result. Here we can see that it has been saved. The new result. So we go to the link and see that we need to save the Bitcoin address in the repository. New folder. Next, we go to the BTCDetect software, and here we can clear it just the same. We clear the console, and the field is also cleared, and we see that we have 10 processes left. So the cycle where we insert the Bitcoin address to get the public key and coordinates. Just like that, we click on Extract, wait for a certain amount of time, and we get the Bitcoin address and coordinates. Next, we click on the frame and wait for a certain amount of time while the scalar multiplication is happening. We can see it. The process of scalar multiplication can be studied. There are many documents available that you can study on your own. I would recommend you try Perplexity. You can enter specific queries into Perplexity. The app was open for some reason, and I'm using various neural networks and trying to do it myself. Also train a neural network for cybersecurity in Bitcoin and to check certain encodings and I want to reiterate that we are doing this entire demonstration for cybersecurity purposes. We see that the bit matrix table of 256 bits is filled, and it's asking us for the console. Press the hex bin, so we press the hex bin and get the hex private key, then we convert it. And we save the result, so the result is saved. Let's go to Total Commander and check in the console. Here it is, we've got it. Our results are saved, so we scroll down to the bottom and see it without the process and how we received the hex format and the format that Bitcoin uses, so we copy this format and let's open a new window. It feels like this data would be better if we opened a new window. Close these windows, so in this section the text will be signed. This is strong, right? The transaction is created this way. We click on Launch and wait for a certain amount of time. It even says, please wait here, and that's it. It seems that we have a certain amount of Satoshi coins, which is this many Satoshi coins specifically. We need to copy the Bitcoin address, which means we need a blank Bitcoin address. From my cold wallet. So here it is, the cold wallet, We copy it and paste it here to check. Once again, that's correct because some cold wallets are also vulnerable and can contain. We also have some leaks, so we need to make sure everything is correct. We enter the amount we need and specify it. Let's specify the fee for now. Let it be 905 Satoshis. Now we click to get it. Certain values, we check this value through verification. That's right. That's how we get it. He will weigh 191 bits for us. Next, we also check the verification. Everything is correct. All good. That's right. And we're sending the broadcast. All the hacks are created. Let's refresh the page. This has been created. Our Bitcoin address, that is, it will be correct to check after waiting a certain amount of time for the miners. They confirmed our transaction, so let's refresh the page to check, and then we'll see what the miners have. The transaction has been confirmed. Our transaction is confirmed. The amount has been received. And now let's update a cold wallet to check. So we click Update. We wait for a certain amount of time, and then we see that the sum has arrived. And this amount is we have already topped up our balance in the cold wallet with Satoshis. This was the second cycle. Now let's save the repository folder with the Bitcoin address. We opened half the teams and saw that we need to save this file. So let's go back to the software again. Blockchain 4-bit. We feel the console. Then we press to find the Bitcoin address. That's how we search and find it. There's a new address with Satoshi for $66. So let's save the result and copy the address. We go to the address and see that the transaction has been completed. So now the console let's save the result in the repository like this. Now we go to the BTCDetect software and see that we still have 9 processes. And we clear the console in cycles, put it in the field, and now we need to extract the private one. We got the coordinates from the public key, and now we click on Extract From. The most intense attacks are differential error attacks, among others. Check the documentation of researchers like Bill Meyer, Miller, and their attacks on I highly recommend studying differential errors in crypto systems based on reptilian curves. This collection of works was published in the year 2000, in addition to these binary matrices, the filling of binary, the matrix of the binary matrix on 256 cells, attacks on differential errors are also relevant. At the moment, we can see that the filling of even and odd numbers is coming to an end. So that's it. I remembered 256 bits. Now we need to press bin hex. We got the hex value of the private key then. We're converting this into the format we need, and now we're saving the result and going to the console. We need to remove the old results from our software since they're outdated. So you got this result in the console. I'm copying this result, and now we're going to the site is caught, so we open a new window, then we paste the private key and insert the private key. We press the button to load the transaction and wait for a certain amount of time. And that's it. It's done. So the value is 85, that's correct. Now we need to update our cold wallet. Let's do that. A wallet to copy the new address and paste the result, so we can copy it from the cold wallet. We insert the water field, we enter the amount we need, and I specify the commission, so the commission is we will have 900 satoshis. We press the button to get the value. Then we check the verification. Is everything okay? Everything is indicated correctly. We will also get the raw text through this field and check it. The result is in the new window. Everything is correct now. We can start broadcasting the blockchain, sending it. So we got the hex, meaning the text and the ID. Now we check if it has arrived in our wallet. The total amount has come in. Now we're waiting for the miners to confirm it, and then we'll update. Check the page to see if the miners have confirmed our transaction, so we can be sure that the amount has been received. The transaction has been received and confirmed on our end, so now let's update our cold wallet to make sure everything is in order. The wallets with this amount should be displayed in the list of loaded bitcoins. The address is correct. $65 have been credited to my account, and there are now 33 active transactions. So next, we go to the address folder and upload. Next, we go to the FolBit blockchain software and clear the console. We click on Find Bitcoin Address, and the scanning process begins. We see that there is a Bitcoin address with the same encoding, so these encodings are not weak. The amount is $56, so again, let's check the transaction. It was. We save the result, copy the address, and then we need to use the copied address for the created file. We need to create a new repository, so let's close everything and start a new one. New catalog with the name Bitcoin address. Now we upload the file. It's all very simple. We upload the file and click the button. Now our file is uploaded, we go in and see the result. Now we need to go to the software cleared the result, and we can still see 8 processes, including this one. We extract the public key and click to fill all 256 cells the same way. We're observing the process, and I also want to recommend the Manometer stairs to you. You can check them out. The documentation of researchers like Lercy, Rail, or Valet, and I also use errors in the implementation of Manometer ladders, since the Manometer ladder is also built on ellipses. The scalar multiplication of curves doesn't occur in all algorithms as needed. The stairs, manometers, a collection of works. You can dig into earlier works from 2008. Here we see that. Our bit matrix is already filling up and all the cells are filled. So now we press the button. We got the private key in hex format and are converting it to the regular format. And we'll save the result, and so we see that the result is saved. Let's go into the old program console. Delete it, close it, and we'll open a new summary. We see the corresponding private key. We copy it and go to the correct page of our payment system. Let's insert it to get the output, set the private key, and also create the transaction and upload it. We click on the token launch to so everything is correct. It displayed the amount in Satoshis. And now let's check the amount. That's right. So now we need to update the cold wallet to make a copy. A new Bitcoin address, that is, your Bitcoin address where we will be crediting those Satoshis, which we received. So this is the address. We paste it into this field, the address field. Then we copy the amount and need to specify the correct fee. Our fee will be 900. Satoshi. So Satoshi, I press the button, we get the value. Like from the format, we verify the value. So we verify the value. We check if this value is correct, and as we can see, it is correct. We're also copying the text and checking the verification. Everything is correct. The Bitcoin address is the same as before. We translate our coins and then broadcast them to the blockchain. And that's how we get fresh text. And let's check this text and the ID at our address. As we can see, everything is coming in. Now we need to wait for the miners to confirm this transaction since we need at least 1 or 2 transactions that are subject to it. So let's refresh the page and see that the miners have confirmed the transaction. Now we need to update our cold wallet to make sure it's on the list of Bitcoin addresses. There is an active status for our address, which means we can see the amount. Which we activated, and it has been credited to our account, and now the amount is such. A specific amount, and now we need to upload the result and clear it from the console. Now we need to clear the console and click the button to find a Bitcoin address, meaning a new fresh one. The Bitcoin address with a balance top-up shows that there is a Bitcoin address at 54. We press the button, so the amount is 71, that's correct. We save the result and copy the address. Let's open the console. Now let's move on to the BTCDetect software and clear the console. The field is cleared as well. We click the button to get the required public key. Then we click on So the launch is in progress, and while it's filling up, I can recommend certain documentation for you. For further study, you can look into the documentation on digital signatures. Signatures where, for example, a lattice attack is indicated with mesh attacks are still relevant because a small group of algorithms provides. There are issues with creating digital signatures, and there is documentation from researchers like Breaker and Hellinger, that is, finding Hellinger is a biased understanding of one-time numbers. There are disposable numbers for lattice attacks that provide weak signatures and the possibility of recovery. Bitcoin wallets, meaning obtaining private keys. And so we see that BitMatrix The cell's filled up, and we need to get the hex format. After that, we get the regular format. Keeping the entire result, and then we go to the console folder to see the saved result we have. It has been saved in this form, so let's check how exactly it has been saved and what values it contains. We need to copy the private key, then we close the document and proceed to the payment. You can download it yourself through the aggregator. Just copy the coin bin from the repository. Here we also have the raw text for creating, so we open it up to create the raw text for the transaction. We absolutely cannot save this for security reasons. Next, we will need to press the button. We press the button, and the process of connecting to the blockchain and determining the balance begins, and so the amount. Which was specified. That's all correct. Now we need to add our Bitcoin address and update the cold storage. Wallet, and we get our cold wallet. So we wait for a certain amount of time, and then a new address with a 0 balance, and we specify this address, then we set it. So let's set the fee to 900 Satoshis, then we send it, get the value, and check it. The importance of verification, and yes, the address is correct. Now let's sign the address, and we'll get it. We're checking the verification again because everything needs to be correct, including the amount. Then we transmit the addresses through the Routex blockchain, that's correct. So we received the fresh text IDs. So we updated everything. The amount comes directly from this wallet, our Bitcoin address. Now we wait for a certain amount of time for the miners to confirm at least one confirmation. We need the transaction, so let's update the result. Now we can see just one confirmation from the miners and we received a certain amount. So now let's update our We update the cold wallet so we can see the received funds in the lists. The funds received in Bitcoin cryptocurrency, and we see that the amount is as specified. The Bitcoin address has received funds, and our total balance is now $455, so this is already the 5th one. We're closing the Bitcoin address from the report and leaving the cold wallet. Now we need to save the folder. Next, we open the program for data leaks from external sources and click. Before that, let's clear the console and click the button to find a new address, so it goes to the new one. Scanning shows that the blockchain is connecting, transactions are being seen, and we receive a new address for the amount. $39. So we save the result, copy the address, go to the address, and see the amount. There was a transaction to top up the balance, so let's go to the console and open the page. Now let's go to the software. I see that we have 6 processes. Let's clear the console. We enter the Bitcoin address, extract the public key, and then click to start the filling process. Even in odd numbers in the cell of a binary matrix is a table beat. So in a matrix, we have scalar multiplication, meaning if the subsequent private key is odd, then 1 is subtracted from the odd number, and the private key becomes. An even private key is divided by 2. There's no concept of division in scalar multiplication. There's only multiplication, meaning that multiplication happens with certain numbers that these numbers have already been calculated. You can look them up in a search engine or somewhere in a neural network. You can study that neural network which opened this aggregator, perplexity. Our beat matrix table is memorable. All these units are these cells, and this is our the private key, and now we just convert from bin to hex, and there you have the private key. In hex format, we then click the hex to view button, and we get it like a regular private key. We take the key and then we save everything. It gets saved in this folder, and we check the result of the saving in the console. We're flipping through to the bottom. See, this whole process has taken so long, and now we're just copying it like this. We copied the link and went to the payment site that the BTCDetect software provided. We have a payment aggregator from Coinbase, or rather Coinbin, so we enter that private key. Here is where we copied from, which we received. We paste it into the field, then we need to press the load button, and then we see that it asks us to wait while everything syncs up. So we see the amount mentioned here. Now we need to enter our information in the field. We melt it down, and then we send it and copy our Bitcoin address and paste it. We set the field, and then we receive the commission. Let's set the commission to 900, up to 900. Next, we get the generated value and also check it for verification. We're checking the address. It's the same address we provided, and the amount has been returned. Now we proceed to receive. Round the text to send the round text blockchain for this. First, we check the amount and we're broadcasting the blockchain. Then we wait for the new TXT ID to show up. We're asked to wait like this. We go to the institute, refresh the page, see the same text and the Bitcoin address, and what? Now we should wait for the mining to process the payment, so let's refresh the page. We see that there is one confirmed transaction, meaning the miners have confirmed the transaction. We go to our cold wallet and see that there are 5 addresses. We need to check if the balance of this coin has been credited, so we press the button. We are updating and expecting to see that the payment has been updated. The list shows that 6 Bitcoin addresses have been replenished, and the total amount is the total comes to $493, so let's close the payment page and add it. In the folder, the Bitcoin addresses result. Then we open the software through a third-party channel, go to the main console, and press the button. Find a Bitcoin address and create a new, fresh Bitcoin address, then scan the blockchain to see it. We save this result, copy the address, and move on. The link shows that the amounts have been calculated. So then we go to the BTCDetect Software and clean it up. We see what comes out. We still have 5 additional processes or cycles to extract and activate the activist. We get binary bits, and here we see that we've obtained the coordinates for reptilian wings. Then we need to fill in the balance table and the matrix table, as we can see right away. It's the 5 odd ones, which means our Bitcoin wallet's private key should start with a small one. We start from the end and go to the beginning, so we add 1, get an even number, then divide by 2, and then the following ones are also determined as either even or odd. If they are even, then they can be divided by 2. There is scalar multiplication happening with this number, and if it's odd, then subtraction occurs. The units and obtaining even, that is, the binary matrix, works in such a way that the function is defined. The scalar multiplication in the algorithm is done, and now you need to press the button. So we see that the private key has been obtained, and then we click on the regular receipt. We open the BTC software console, and here we can see what we've received. We copy the private key. The private key has been copied. Next, we go to the payment aggregator. For the software website to get route X, we need to enter it in the field, and then we should To explore the specified one further, we need to click on Launch. So we press the button, and it says that we need to wait, and that's how we get the amount. That's correct, and we should now update our cold wallet to receive. So we copy the value of the Bitcoin address, paste it in the field, and then specify it. We specify the required amount, and after the fee, it will be exactly 900 Satoshis. Then, we get the hex value, check the verification, and see if the amount corresponds to the same Bitcoin. The address we had, and then we need to get route X, so we copy route X. We're checking the verification of route X, and we're also checking the amount of the Bitcoin address. Next comes the broadcasting. Blockchain and the expectations for fresh text and ID, so we're updating our Bitcoin address, that is our wallet. We see that the payment has been received at the specified Bitcoin address and is awaiting confirmation from the miners. So we refresh the page and see that we are getting one confirmation support from the miners. Now we go to the cold wallet and see that our amount is still not confirmed, so we refresh. So the update happened, and we can see that the amount has been credited to us for all the confirmed ones. The total amount we have is $519 US. Then we open the full blockchain software, data leaks, and clear the console. Then we click the button to find the Bitcoin address. It connects to the blockchain and searches for what we need. We see that there is a Bitcoin address with an amount of almost $19. Let's save the result. We copy the address, go to the link, and then we see this address. After that, we need to create a directory. We've uploaded the file. Now let's move on to the software with the processes we still have. We enter and paste the Bitcoin address, then click on Extract. Extract identifies our points. Next, we fill in the bit matrix table, which means we perform scalar multiplication. Getting the specific bits of even and odd numbers, I repeat, even numbers are 0. An odd number is 1, and all of this happens in a sequential filling. That is, the software is determining again that if it's odd, then subtract 1 and divide by 2. In the process of scalar multiplication, there is no concept of division, only addition.